I wanted to say, starting out, I really do appreciate the support you guys all gave on the last video. I may or may not make a video responding to that video because there was a lot of kindness under there and I really appreciate it. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about Deadpool 3 because today it was tweeted out by the official Deadpool movie account that Hugh Jackman is going to have a variant of his classic yellow outfit in the movie. Now, we don't know if there's going to be a mask or not. That remains to be seen. But either way, I'm actually really excited for this. I also do plan to make another video talking about why this in particular matters, why it actually matters to give Wolverine, for probably one of Hugh Jackman's last performances as the character, if not his last, this actual outfit. That is something I'd like to make for probably later this week. But in terms of just the excitement that this generated online, it was a lot. At the time I recorded this, it got almost 170,000 likes, something like 26,000 retweets, almost 5,000 quote tweets, and people were loving this thing. People are really excited to see Hugh back, and people are really excited to see him in the classic X-Men outfit that he never really got to wear in the original movies. There was a tease for it at the end of The Wolverine, but it was something that we never saw, and it was in a deleted scene that didn't make it into the actual normal cut of the film, so it just kind of went by the wayside and never was a thing. And this is not the only element of classic Fox X-Men that could be getting rectified and making its way into the film Deadpool 3. That's something I want to talk about today because this film has the potential to be the No Way Home of the X-Men. And I don't mean that in terms of just being a nostalgia fest, because I know that the internet, loved No Way Home. It was almost a circle jerk movie for 3 months, and now the internet talks about how it wasn't actually good and it was overrated. That's what all of YouTube and Twitter and all these places do. But what I mean when I say the No Way Home of X-Men is I mean it has the ability to bring back a lot of classic elements that fans of the old movies, or at least some of them, liked, and fix problems that the movies had later on. Now, before we hop into today's full video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. We are getting up there with the subscriber count. I appreciate you very much, and I look forward to having you on this journey with me. There were also rumors that are looking to have a lot of validity that there is a possibility that Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen will be coming back actually for this film as both Professor X and Magneto, which would be something really, really awesome to see. Now, if they did come back, I don't personally think they would have a massive involvement in the film, because this film has been described almost more as like a buddy cop, Wolverine and, Deadpool on the run together type of thing. But actually being able to see them, even in just a scene, would be really fun. We did see Patrick Stewart come back, obviously, for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but it was a variant of Professor X, and we all know how that ended. It was actually kind of disappointing how they utilized his character in that film, in my opinion. It's worth mentioning, too, that when classic Fox X-Men star, and also, of course, Star Trek star, and star of many other things, including the underrated adaptation of A Christmas Carol, Patrick Stewart was being interviewed for Picard Season 3, he actually answered Entertainment Tonight when they asked a little bit about Professor X, and he said, "I can't say about what Charles' future might possibly hold." He also went on to talk about different things, saying that him and Ian McKellen are far from retirement, and he said that his return as Professor X in the second Doctor Strange movie went very well. He said, actually, it went very well. He did say something in terms of talking about Ian, like, "Hey, I would have done this. Yes, that's true." Stewart said, "But we're not done. Sir Ian and myself, we got plans." And I thought that was really, really interesting. But when Comic Book asked him about Deadpool 3, he said, "He has been told to stand by. I know nothing more than that, honestly." I thought this was really cool because he's not just straight up saying, "No, we're done. We're not going to make it." And here's the thing. Even if he were to just say, "We're done," not to call him a liar, in show business, sometimes you have to do that. Remember Andrew Garfield before Spider-Man No Way Home? Something I still am tempted to be petty about is go back to the comments of my Spider-Man No Way Home video for the promotion of it, because I remember saying it's pretty dang obvious they were going to bring back Andrew and Toby at that point. And I can't tell you how many people said, "No, they're not. They're not going to be in there. You look stupid. You sound so dumb right now." And then they were in there and those people were real quiet, which I thought was kind of hilarious. In show business, sometimes you do lie. Sometimes there's, smoke and mirrors. There's no, I probably won't be back, and then you're back, because you don't want to just spoil the movie, right? Let's say there's a really powerful scene with Professor X in this movie and Wolverine. Well, he's not just going to say, yeah, I have a really powerful scene at the end where we do this, and it's super emotional. Like, you wouldn't do that. That's just going to sabotage the movie, and it's also not something that Marvel really likes anyone doing in their films. So, I don't really understand why people take everything at face value, but I do really think it's awesome that the door is open to this. I also did want to say that there is a possibility for even more characters being suggested to be in this film. It's been reported that Jennifer Garner will actually show up as a variant of Elektra again, which is really interesting because the 2003 Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck actually introduced this character, and then she got a solo movie in 2005, which was not good. There are also rumors of other potential X-Men returns as well. It was actually reported by Jeff Snyder over on Above the Line, and he is actually somewhat reliable when it comes to leaks. I have not read a lot of his work, but something I was reading from the internet in general is that he's gotten a lot of these leaks right in the past. And he was the one who actually had reported about Jennifer Garner possibly returning as Elektra, and the possibility of other X-Men as well. I'm going to be linking these different articles in the description down below, so if you want to read through them, I am going to source this, but it's something that I think is really fun that I want to talk about the possibilities on, because there were also other suggestions as well, like Halle Berry as Storm, James Marsden as Cyclops, Famke Janssen as well, I hope I said her name right, as, of course, Jean Grey, even Ben Affleck as Daredevil, and then there was the possibility of Channing Tatum showing up as Gambit, which would be pretty funny, actually, because he was supposed to have a solo movie forever that got canceled. It was in development hell, and then it just went bye-bye pretty much. This does seem like something that a Deadpool movie would do, at the very least to make fun of the situation, so it is very possible. But what's important about all this to me, kind of in closing, is that this has the ability to rectify mistakes that the old Fox movies made, and actually show some things in a positive and fun light. I think the internet loves to hate on things, especially in hindsight, and it goes one of two ways. It's either this thing was the worst thing ever, or actually this thing was the best thing ever, it was underrated, you were all hating on it when it was good, which you see about some absolutely terrible films. Something that I think is interesting about this is that the Fox X-Men movies, they were not actually fondly remembered at the end of their run. And there's good reason for that. I talked before about this. In my opinion, Disney really also hurt the production of Dark Phoenix because they were heavily involved and kind of messing with it, according to a lot of different reports. But X-Men Dark Phoenix was one of the final films that the Fox X-Men universe put out. And while there are some fun things in the movie, overall, it's just a big mess. It's not very good. It's got a lot of problems, and it pretty much just dropped the ball on the Dark Phoenix saga again for the second time, rubbed salt in the wound in a lot of ways. It was just kind of a generic feeling movie. It felt in some ways like a been there, done that film. And even though I will be honest, I like parts of that movie a lot, there's a lot of parts that just kind of suck. And it's unfortunate because that movie and even the New Mutants, which came out as well at the end, both had a lot of redeeming qualities in them and different characterizations and fun things, but the scripts were not very good and a lot of problems were had. I enjoyed New Mutants when it came out, and I still think it's really overhated. I think it's more just like a mediocre or fine superhero movie. I loved Anya Taylor-Joy showing up as Magic. I thought that was great, but I thought that there was a lot that could have been fixed and improved that really just ended up not happening. Of course, things like Patrick Stewart as Professor X and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine are fondly remembered, same with Ian McKellen as, of course, Magneto, but there are a lot of problems that those movies faced, and also they faced a lot of criticisms for some of their, mistakes that they rightfully deserve criticism for. For example, acting like they were too good for classic X-Men movie costumes, especially when it came to characters like Wolverine. Things like that just kind of rub people the wrong way, especially lines in the first X-Men movie mocking the original outfits from the comics. So I don't think things like that really went over well with fans, and I do think that they were genuinely mistakes. It's unfortunate, though, because there was a lot of great stuff in them, even in the bad films. And it makes me sad because a lot of people looked back at Fox X-Men at the end and they said, good, I'm glad it's dead, let it die, give it back to Disney, they'll do better. But so far, Disney hasn't really done anything with the Fox X-Men. In fact, they've even gone as far as to start changing things like make Miss Marvel a mutant instead of actually an Inhuman, because it seems like they're embarrassed about their Inhumans TV show that was just not great. So it's unfortunate that the Fox X-Men movies are not remembered fondly, and this movie does have the ability to actually bring back some of the best elements of them and, paint them in a better light. You don't have to do revisionist history where you act like, well, no, actually, Dark Phoenix was the best movie. What are you guys all talking about? Look, Deadpool 3, haha, Dark Phoenix was our favorite. And I'm not talking about anything like disingenuous like that. What I'm talking about is the ability to bring back Hugh and give him his classic costume. The ability to bring back Professor X, and maybe instead of his last on-screen performance be being torn apart as a plot point, for Scarlet Witch in Doctor Strange 2, maybe instead he's actually the hopeful, really interesting, fun character that we all liked. Because there were elements of that in Doctor Strange, but we didn't get to see enough of it, and then he was just killed off. I think that there is a lot of ability to do this movie in a way that brings the best elements from those films, and even some of the worst, and shows them in a fun way that makes people look back fondly and say, I watched those movies, that was cool. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit of member berries, maybe there's some nostalgia there. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing if there's good writing. I think the internet has gotten confused when it comes to nostalgia, and there's an idea now that all nostalgia is bad, because there has been a lot of just bring it back to bring it back. I get that, lots of reboots and things like that, or continuations of classic shows just for the sake of making money. Fine. But I think that bringing things back is not necessarily a bad idea if it's written well, if it's done in a good format that has heart and character to it. And finally, of course, the focus of this movie still does need to be at its core Deadpool and his humor. I think those things are very, very important. But I do think that if people weren't complaining about, Deadpool 2 in some ways turning into an X-Force movie, as well as Deadpool, I don't really think it's fair to be criticizing this movie for potentially looking like it's trying to fix the flaws of X-Men while also be a Deadpool film. I think that it has a lot of potential to do a lot of great things, and I'm really excited to see where this goes when this film comes out. So overall, I'm excited. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, what your opinions are. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We do also have several other channels as well, including Degenerate Plays, where we hang out and play games together podcast style. Of course, my wife Jill has her own channel, Magical Jill, where she reviews different collectibles, does anime videos and all kinds of stuff like that. I'm on that channel as well. And then, of course, we do have The King of Creepy, which is our horror channel that I hope you'll check out. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shui.